The Siberian taiga, Russia. At over 2 million square miles, it's the largest forest on Earth. And on June 30th, 1908, this remote and inhospitable landscape experienced a devastating disaster known as the Tunguska event.
On this June morning in 1908, a massive explosion occurs over this remote part of Siberia. This became a major mystery in world history. At this period in time, this area was mostly inhabited by an indigenous group called the Evenki. They had traditionally engaged in reindeer herding, and there were several of them who were out pretty close to the epicenter of the blast. The Evenki herders see a bright object in the sky, described as brighter than the sun. And then they heard these loud booms, louder than gunshots.
What the Evenki described was nightmarish. Suddenly, another sun appears in the sky. They hear the loudest noise you've ever heard, along with a very violent shockwave. People were blasted off their feet and thrown a distance. And then, almost as fast as it started, this fades away, and you're left wondering what happened.
There is an enormous explosion, and what happens is that something like 80 million trees are flattened over an 800 square mile area. I mean, this is absolutely bizarre, and yet here you have this devastation.
That must have been terrifying. Every single tree is flattened in the same direction. 80 million of them over 800 square miles. We just see flattened trees, completely scorched and devoid of any branches or leaves.
What kind of explosive force had the power to annihilate an 800 square mile area? It's been estimated this would require the energy equivalent of 1,000 atomic bombs. Early 20th century theories proposed the disaster was the work of a massive meteor striking the Siberian wilderness.
When the Tunguska blast occurred in 1908, and even when it was first investigated in the late 1920s, the expectation was that this must be one of the largest meteorite events in modern times. One of the early researchers was this guy, Leonid Kulik, who gets support from the Soviet Academy of Sciences to begin these expeditions. In 1928, Leonid Kulik expected to find a crater and a big chunk of metal. But he did not find a crater or a meteorite. Even to this day, we have not found a crater that was caused by Tunguska, or even material that can clearly be traced back to a cosmic origin in 1908.
How does something smashing into Earth leave no crater and flatten 80 million trees without leaving any other trace of it? When an asteroid or comet smacks into Earth's surface, the classic thing that you get is an impact crater. Meteor Crater in Arizona is a perfect example of this. But in the Tunguska event, we see no evidence of a crater at all. And so the enigma here is, how do you get potentially something striking Earth, but not seemingly to strike Earth at all?
In the absence of an impact crater or verified cosmic debris, attempts to explain the unnatural event have ranged from a black hole passing through Earth to weapons of mass destruction. But 70 years after Tunguska, a strange anomaly on a small island in Newfoundland, Canada, may offer some clues to the cause of the mysterious Siberian disaster. It's known as the Bell Island Boom.
April 2nd, 1978, in Newfoundland, about 5,000 residents of Bell Island suddenly, spontaneously see an enormous flash of light, and it's followed by an explosion that damages almost every building in the town. Gouts of blue fire erupt from power outlets. Livestock were killed, and the sound of this blast was heard 80, 90 miles away. And initially they thought, well, maybe this was a giant meteor impact, but there was no crater, there was no impact debris. So people thought immediately of similarities with Tunguska.
One possible explanation for the Bell Island boom is what we call a superbolt. We think that superbolts are basically lightning bolts, but they're far, far more powerful than a normal one. They release trillions of watts of energy instantaneously. So that leads scientists to wonder, could a superbolt be responsible for this Bell Island boom?